Hey guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Batman movie. Now, before I get into the review itself, I want to talk a little bit about what's happening with this channel. Now, first, I'm creating a second channel, a gaming channel. It should be on my channels list by today. So, the gaming channel's name is going to be called Platinum Gamer. The whole point of that channel is not only to play games, but to try to obtain platinum trophies in those games. Now, there's some games that I might not be able to because it's a little too hard, but I will try to get, my trophy status as high as possible. So that's what I'll be doing on that channel. I'll also be uploading on that channel tomorrow, since I'm getting my game coming in. I'm gonna be uploading Yakuza Like a Dragon series, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be coming in tomorrow. I did some test runs on the audio itself. It sounded pretty fine. It's not gonna be perfect like you've seen high level gaming channels, but it will sound pretty decent as a whole. So stay tuned for that for tomorrow. I'll also be getting my camera tomorrow too, so my video quality should be a lot better, the audio should be better, the lighting should be better too. And with getting this camera instead of using my phone now, there's a lot more stuff that I can do for the videos. Not only would it look better, and I'll be able to get it making look better and all that stuff, but also I'll be able to make reaction videos. I was waiting for my camera to come in so I can record myself reacting to stuff. I'm gonna be reacting to, once again, Screw Attack. If there's any death battles that I care about, I'm gonna be also reacting to other YouTubers, and specifically topics about talking about Dragon Ball characters' powers or other characters' power and how powerful they are. And I'm gonna be like just analyzing them and either debunking their videos or just going more in depth on their videos and trying to explain some stuff. But I'm also going to be uploading reactions to shows on this channel too. I'm going to be reacting to Hunter x Hunter. That's going to be my first show I'm going to react to on this channel. I'm going to also try to upload that by tomorrow. If I can't, and my gaming videos are going to take quite a bit of time, I'll probably upload it the day after. So stay tuned for that too. I'm also not going to try to make this entire channel a reaction channel. I will put some reactions here and there, but it'll be mainly about discussions and talking about certain topics that I care about. So with that being said, let's get into the movie review itself. Now, this is going to be obviously a spoiler review, as you see in the description down below. So yeah, if you guys don't like spoilers, probably you shouldn't watch this movie. If you don't care, then this review is for you guys. So yeah, I'm not going to go in through all the entire details. I'm going to just go through some stuff throughout the movie and like the plot, main plot itself, because I don't want to stretch this video too long. Now, the main plot of the movie is the Riddler trying to expose Gotham and the structure of Gotham, not only the criminal underground but also the political side of Gotham and how the corruption runs deep inside the city itself, and basically expose it. And Batman is just starting off being Batman. He's obviously established his name a bit, but he's still in his early stages. This is supposed to be a direct tie to the Batman comics year one, where it was Batman coming back to Gotham and first time coming into his moniker, the first year of him becoming Batman and trying to get a feeling of stuff. So it's more of like his rookie year. So this movie is basically about Batman in his rookie year. So him dealing with these crimes would be more like him starting off. But it's weird because in the end of the movie we do see the Joker. So you're telling me that this guy is just starting off, but here he beat the Joker? That just seems weird to me. So yeah, he's against the Riddler, and the Riddler's plan is to expose them. He first kills the mayor of Gotham, who is running for re-election against another candidate, and he was kind of worried. He broke into his house. He was right behind him, and he beats him to death. And Batman has to come and investigate with the cops. There's the commissioner who comes out, and he does not like Batman. He's like, no, we shouldn't be working with him. Get him the hell out of here. And he has like serious problems with him. And Jim Gordon is good friends with him at this point. The cops, some of the cops at least trust him, but there are a few that I don't trust Batman too much. The commissioner was completely against him, and Gordon, just like in the comics, he was cool with him. Now, Gordon, it did throw me off, and I don't want to put race into this, but I didn't expect Gordon to be black because I didn't check any of the spoilers and stuff. So when I saw this guy, I'm like, oh, okay, he's just one of the other cops there. Maybe he's like a high level detective. Maybe he's a detective from the comics I just didn't know. And he's talking to him, and then I was like, where's Jim Gordon? And then they mentioned him, Jim Gordon, so I was just thrown back. I was like, damn, wait, what? So if you guys haven't seen any spoilers or the casting, you'll probably be thrown off about who this guy is. Just know that he is, he's Jim Gordon. So they have that. He's investigating. He has his first riddle, and he's leaving him clues. Also, he's directly giving mail to Batman. So he's trying to do the stuff towards Batman. So he has some connection, and we're trying to find out what is his deal with Batman. Why is he sending him these clues? What does he want from Batman? What is his end goal? So that's the whole point of the movie. This movie, compared to the other Batman movies, is more on the detective side and investigating. That's what people loved about this movie. They said it's more comic book accurate because Batman the comics is more of a detective than just I'm gonna go and punch the crap out of this guy as a superhero. And he does do that, but his main thing is to do detective work, and they've done it in other Batman movies, but never to a high enough extent as they did in this movie. So I think that's what people really liked about it, and that's why people rated this movie so high, especially compared to the other Batman movies. So they loved that part about it. And there was quite a bit of a mystery. There was actually two kinds of mysteries. One was, what was the truth that the Riddler was trying to unveil about the Gotham's like underground and socialites and all this other stuff, and what was the Riddler's plan and what was he trying to do. So there was also that. And this movie is quite long. It's like almost 3 hours long. So there's a lot of bit of in it in this movie, and they stretched out quite a lot. If I'm being honest, I feel like it shouldn't have been 3 hours long. I think they should have shortened it to a lot more. I think they should have condensed it a lot more. Being 3 hours was not necessary. There was some stuff in it that I was like, okay, that was not needed or needed to be stretched out this far, because it doesn't help out the movie. For me, it just felt like they're putting in filler to make it sound like it's more interesting, when in reality it wasn't. And I'll tell you about one of the mysteries that it was a good mystery, like like the clues and stuff, but the conclusion and the what we found out, to me, I just didn't really care too much about. So the whole stuff is progressing, and Riddler's going crazier. He's like he's taking DAA guys, he's taking other cops, because these guys are corrupt. They're basically working they're in like the ice lounge where the Penguin owns, and it's basically where criminals come there to you just have fun and also like make some business deals. And there was a ton of cops and government officials. We also find out the mayor that was killed was in this club, and he cheated on his wife with one of the hostess there in the club itself, and he was also into some corrupt stuff. He was working with them. So the Riddler killed him because he was corrupt, and he was trying to expose him for his corruption, and he was trying to see he was trying to see who he was, show who he was to the public. And Batman was trying to find out more of the stuff. He meets up with Selena Kyle. She works there. He sees Penguin literally peddling drugs while he's there. And I'm just like, first of all, Penguin, the fact that you have the balls to literally peddle drugs with Batman right there, and the fact that Batman didn't intervene at all, he was just like, whatever. I'm like, it just felt weird to me. But yeah, they had that. Catwoman, her personally, I don't think she was a bad actress, but I just felt like she wasn't very necessary in the story. If you written her out of the story, it wouldn't have changed much, if I'm being honest. But yeah, they did that. One of the more crazier one was one of the DAA guys. The Riddler caught him. He put this bomb around his neck, and when Bruce Wayne was going to basically the funeral, he was going to the funeral of the mayor, and he met up with Carmine Falcone, and we find out that Carmine Falcone at one point was saved by Thomas Wayne. He was actually dying, and since Thomas Wayne was a surgeon, he basically helped fix him up, and he feels indebted to Thomas Wayne, so he was on his side and he supported him or whatever. And Bruce doesn't like him, obviously. We find out that Bruce he's more inclusive. I don't know what the word is, but it's basically he stays inside and he doesn't come out very much. He doesn't interact with a lot of people. And it's different because for me, people say this is the most comic book accurate, Batman, which I don't really agree with, because of you seen the Batman comic books and stuff, you know that Batman plays his parts very well. He tries to blend in with like the audience, which is what you should do if you're trying to, being undercover or trying to blend in or hide your identity. You have to, you have to appear as normal as possible. If you're acting weird or unnatural, then people are gonna assume easier that you might not be might not be a regular person. You might be something more different. And the fact that he doesn't interact with other people and he's very socially awkward, I guess you guys can be like, well, Batman doesn't need to do that. But here's the thing. Batman in the comics always does that. Why? To keep up appearance. When Batman, he's in his Bruce Wayne persona, he's basically acting as a playboy. He's acting like he's acting like a rich kid and stuff, which that's the facade. He's supposed to pretend to be those stuff. But when he's Batman, he's serious. Obviously, that's how he differentiates both of his personas and tricks people. But this Bruce Wayne, he was acting weird. He was socially weird. He doesn't hang out too much. And to me, it was like, well, that makes him more suspicious to be Batman. So I was like, you acting this way is terrible. If he was acting like, a playboy, it would be hard for people to believe. So that was not very comic book accurate of I'm being honest. And then we get into the church. There's a car coming in and the Riddler was up there. He set the car in. It crashes in. Batman saves the mayor's kid. And out of the car comes out the DAA guy, and he has the bomb strapped to his neck. And Batman, he has to answer some riddles, and Batman's there. He's trying to answer them and stuff. And then Riddler's trying to get him to expose what he did, and he's like, I can't do it. There's guys that are bigger than this, and of that comes out, they're gonna kill my family, and it's worse than kill me. So he would rather die than have his family die. Batman is trying to get this off of him, but there's 5 or 6 seconds left. And obviously this guy accepted his fate because he's not going to snitch and give it up anyway. So he's going to die. And Batman didn't have any way to stop him. But it made no sense to me because Batman, instead of, being like, oh crap, there's nothing to do. There's a couple seconds left. Let me run. This guy stood right there, point blank, while the guy's about to explode. He blows up, knocking Batman out. I'm like, dude, are you an idiot? First of all, you had no way to save him, so what the hell's the point of wasting your time? Second of all, there was barely any time left, and the explosion, you were literally right there. If it was me, I would have tried to save him as much as possible, but if there's 5 seconds left, I would have just gotten to a safe distance and just let it happen because he didn't do anything. He just stood there and got blown up and then got KO'd for a bit, and then the cops rushed in and the cops tried to stop him. So I was like, you're kind of an idiot for that. I don't know what you were expecting standing that close to the guy. You expect not to get blown up in the face and get launched? Like, what was he thinking? That was the dumbest thing. Also, let's be honest, if he was that close to an explosion, yeah, you could say his bat suit could tank the the destruction, but in that close of range, the heat that would be coming out of there would have burned his face because his face is not protected from anything else. His face would have been burned, or his eyes. So the fact that he had no damage, it was just like he got hit with a blunt object. It was just weird to me. And then also by doing this let the cops come in and try to unmask him. And I was like, but he was working with you guys a second ago. And second of all, if Batman just stood away, he wouldn't be in the situation where he had to run away from the cops trying to expose him. So it was his fault anyway. He was an idiot for that. And then we have the biggest clue in the movie. It's a word in Spanish. I think it was they said el bato or something like that. It was something about a bat or a bird, and he was trying to find out the clues with Jim Gordon, and they targeted the suspect to Penguin. So okay, the Penguin is because there was something about a rat, so they're saying the Penguin is the rat. He's the informative guy. He's the guy who's giving the information, and he's the one that the Riddler's after. So they went down, they start to fight him and stuff. Batman comes in, he sees Catwoman try to steal money, and Batman tries to fight them. He gets shot down and gets taken down. He nearly dies in this instance, and I was just like, you have no spatial awareness. Also, his suit literally tanked tons of bullets, hit shots with other stuff, and now he's getting shot with a couple machine gun bullets and he's getting taken out. Are you kidding me? That made no sense to me either. I was just like, this guy's suit is shown to be so bulletproof and tanking an explosion, but now he's getting shot at a little and that's knocking him down too. it felt very inconsistent when it came to the durability of his suit and what it could take. So that happened. He almost got killed once again. He almost got killed, and it was because he wasn't taking cover and he wasn't being cautious enough as Batman would be. He wasn't hiding in the shadows. He was kind of being dumb, and then he was chasing. He's chasing Penguin down. He takes him down. He takes him, and then they start interrogating him, saying, "You're the one. You're the rat. You're the informative." And this part, I don't know why. This is gonna be weird to say, but I feel like a lot of people were over exaggerating Batman's detective skills and saying he was amazing. But when I watched it, he looked like an idiot to me. I mean, this guy, first of all, he said that it was the Penguin, which it wasn't him, and the Penguin even reveals to him, he's like, "Are you guys idiots? That's not L, that's la as the." And he was saying he was basically reprimanding them for like not knowing Spanish. He's like, "This is basic Spanish. How the hell do you guys not know this? You guys don't even know how to speak Spanish correctly, and you're trying to like saying that this is how it works." We find out that it was more of the Batman. He was talking about Batman himself, not a he thought it was about Batman, but it was more like a bat and stuff. So he found out, he's like, "Oh crap." He's like, "Oh," him and Jim Gordon's like, "Oh shit, I guess we made a mistake." I'm just like, he's supposed to be the world's greatest detective. People are saying he's great mystery and solving stuff. No, he's an idiot. This guy didn't even know basic Spanish. The criminal had to help him out with it. That's how dumb Batman was in this movie. I'm like, you're an idiot. You fucked up that badly and had to have the villain help you out with your problem. So he had that. We find out later on that the mystery and all these twists and turns, we find out that Batman, there's something nefarious happened with Batman's dad. So he goes into this orphanage that he created, and then they find out that this film, and it was found out about this this reporter was investigating Thomas Wayne, and we found out that Batman's mom came from like Batman's mom's Martha Wayne. Her mom killed her dad and then killed herself, and that kind of led Martha Wayne to have some mental problems, so it made her a little crazy. And the dad was running for election, and he didn't want his like family to look bad, and he didn't want his wife obviously to be seen as a loony person, so he tried to hide it. But this reporter guy was trying to bring it out to the light, and he didn't like that. So the Riddler stated that suggested in the video that he said something to go and kill him. So Batman meets with Carmine Falcone, starts talking to him about it, and then he reveals to him that your dad wasn't that innocent. He sent me in to handle the business. He told me to basically intimidate him. When that didn't work, he told me that to just take care of him. So I killed him, and I came to your dad, and then we devised all this stuff. He might have been killed by the other gang guy, because what happened was in the beginning of the movie, I forgot what the other gang member's name is, but he had like a rivalry against Carmine Falcone, and this guy, he basically he hired the reporter dude to expose him. So he was suggesting that this reporter guy was only doing this because he was working for this other moth boss guy, and that the person who probably killed Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne was probably somebody from this guy's gang, or maybe just some random street thug that want to mug them, which we know in the comics is Joe Chill. So yeah, it was just a random street thug in the comic. I don't know if they're gonna do that in the movie, but that's just the case in the comic book itself. But yeah, he basically suggested that his dad was, he didn't want it to come out, so he hired him to kill, threaten this guy. When that didn't work, he told him to kill him, and then he did. And when he died, he was suggesting that it was the other guy that did it. So we had that whole story and stuff, and Batman believes it, and he leaves. And then he comes to Alfred, because what happens was Riddler sent a bomb, or like a little like fire explosion, to Bruce Wayne's manor to take out Bruce Wayne, but he wasn't there obviously since he's Batman. And what's the name? Alfred got it. He opened it up, and he realized later on, he throws it and then it hits him, and Batman's trying to get there. He's trying to call him to get him on the phone. He's like, oh, he's trying to stop him, but we find out that it happened an hour prior, so the visuals weren't timed the same. That was to trick us to think that it was happening at the same time, but it already happened, which I did like that as the right direction. I was like, that's very clever, but I still do think Alfred's kind of an idiot. I'm like, dude, this was for the Batman. Somebody sending the mail to the Batman, and it was the Riddler. Obviously it would be some trap. I would have thrown that shit the moment I saw Batman. I'm like, yeah, I'm not opening this crap. Like, the fact that it's saying all this stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's obviously like a trap. So I felt like that was kind of dumb, but I do like the scene with him talking with Alfred, because he was like, you lied to me, my parents weren't that great of people, my dad did this and that, and he's like, oh, you really believe in that? Your dad was a great man, I respected your dad. And I really love that scene, because you see really a good heart and emotion from the guy who plays Alfred, and Robert Patterson's connection with him was also really good. You could see that he was really like disappointed and distraught with the fact that his dad was this big criminal, the fact that he would do something like this, that he would do something so nefarious. So he said that, but he reveals to him that no, his dad didn't do this. His dad did tell him to stop him, but the whole killing part, that was all Carmine's idea. And when he found this out, he said he was going to go tell the police, and he was going to rat about and all the situation, what happened. But he didn't like it, so Carmine killed him. And then he suggested that Carmine killed him. We don't know if in this movie universe that he did, but he stated that he got him killed, and that his dad didn't do it. So then he finds out that Carmine was the bad guy who did it. So now he's going after him. Just like, once again, the world's greatest detective didn't try to do any investigation on his own family. He just went to Carmine, a known criminal, listened to what he said in his side of the story, and just like, yep, I believe him. Like, are you kidding me? You would trust a criminal over your own dad and his legacy, and over your butler, Alfred. That was just so dumb to me. I'm like, obviously Carmine Falcone can't be trusted, and you would think with Batman's skills he would be able to detect a liar, but he was not very good at interrogating. He was just like, oh, okay, I guess if you say it must be true. Like, you're an idiot, bro. People saying that he was like the best, no, he's kind of an idiot. He's not like how the Batman normally is. So that was dumb. And then we find out the mystery to the whole, La Bat, or whatever it was called in Spanish, mystery. One of the guys, the cop guys that was there, Catwoman got him and was going to kill him, because her friend that she was looking for that got killed, this guy had directly something to do with it. So she played an audio, and it was Carmine Falcone who did this. And he basically killed the girl who exposed it. And we find out that the bird, or the thing that we're talking about, was not the penguin, but Carmine Falcone. So the rat was Carmine Falcone the entire time. So he's going after to stop it. And Catwoman throws the guy she's trying to kill him. Batman's trying to stop her. She's going after Carmine Falcone, trying to kill her dad, because she assumes that he killed her mom. And he did. He did kill her mom. He admitted himself. So he killed her mom. He probably killed Thomas Wayne. He definitely killed a girl, and he was the one who was doing all this stuff. So Batman goes to try to stop her, and try to apprehend him. And he also finds out that they were thinking that that Falcone was the rat, and that he worked for the government officials. But then they found out no, he did not work for the government officials. They worked for him. He was actually the one who run the entire thing, and the city itself. And some people might think this is clever, but to me, I felt it was kind of dumb. You know why? Because let's be honest, this is a story and type of scenario we've seen countless times. It's nothing really unique. This is basically the story of the big crime boss underground guy runs the city. He runs, he runs the politicians. He runs the police office. He runs all this stuff. Like, it's been done to death. We've seen this in Daredevil with Wilson Fisk, and it was done better than that. We've seen this done in real life with with Al Capone and other gangsters. So this is a very common and overused trope. So to me, it didn't feel like a great mystery. It was just like, oh, so they're just doing the, the cliche of the big criminal boss in the underground runs this city and runs intricate stuff about the politics and all that stuff. I'm like, that's very basic. I do like the whole mystery aspect about it, but when you get the reveal, I'm like, well, that's kind of a cliche. I'm like, so you're telling me that you use, because a lot of the time in this movie was spent on this mystery. I'm like, we spent so much time on this mystery to come to a cliche conclusion that happens in almost every movie where they have a big crime guy. I was like, really? And the fact that he was like, Carmine works for them. I'm like, once when he said that, I'm like, dude, no, he does not. They work for him. He's obviously, they're going with the whole, he's the criminal underboss guy and they work for him. But the reason he got the power was the Thomas Wayne fund thingy. It had a lot of money in it, and it had like a political campaign and stuff in it. And once he died, all these guys tried to go for it. The mayor tried to go for it. Carmine went for it. The commissioner went for it, which he got killed because, you know, he was corrupt, so the Riddler killed him. They all went for it, but Carmine got it first, and once when he got it, he ruled the city, so they had to work under him. So for like decades, he was basically running the city. So I was like, once again, the mystery was kind of cool, but the ending and stuff, like I've seen it before and it's done better. I think Daredevil did it better with Wilson Fisk. He was a better like crime boss that owned the city than him. And then he gets him out. He thinks he owns everything, but most of the cops actually really weren't corrupt. A lot of them were like, you know, we don't give a shit. We want to take you down. So he gets him there. He gets him out into the light because there's something about the Riddler saying, if you get the rat out into the light, then the truth will come out. So he got him out into the light fixture. He gets shot. And we find out that the whole meaning of that was the Riddler was in the building over watching it, and he needed someone to draw him out. He was waiting there for someone to draw him out to shoot him. He does reveal later on the ending that he's smart and he's really good at planning, but he's not very physically capable of doing this stuff. So he couldn't accomplish these goals without Batman. So Batman will be the one who physically enforces it, whereas he manipulates behind the scenes, which I did like. I thought that was clever. I think that was better than the whole Carmine thing. If I'm also being honest, I felt like the Carmine thing went way too long. I didn't like it. I felt like they could have trimmed it down a lot, especially if you're going to give us such a cliche, you know, reveal that, oh, the crime boss is the one who is ruling the city and has his hands in everything. They could have simply just cut to the chase with that and gone with the Riddler story, because that's the one where us as fans cared more about. So we have that. They're trying to track him down. He's finding more information. They do get him, and he's in a cafe. They take him into custody, and he's smiling. So there's obviously more to it. Batman is interrogating him. He talks about how he hates, you know, Bruce because, you know, he was an orphan too. Their orphanage was, you know, the orphanage that was supposed to be built by Thomas Wayne, they never really you know, did it, and he died and stuff, so he was mad at them, and he wanted to punish Bruce because the media was giving him Bruce a lot of coverage because his parents dying instead of the other orphans like them. And he was like, well, the rich kid, he lives in a big mansion and he has a butler, and they're crying about how he's an orphan, but we have nothing and nobody. We have all these harsh conditions and we're orphans and they don't give a crap about us. And I do get that there is media selective bias. We're definitely seeing that nowadays too, especially with the whole Ukraine and Russia stuff. I don't want to get too political, but let's be honest. The Ukrainian people, though they are going through a lot of struggles, and I feel for them, I feel like they're putting more of a focus on them because they're, you know, European and they're white, compared to what they did for, like, you know, the Middle Eastern and African countries because they were black and brown. They didn't care too much about it, and that there's selective bias there. So in the end of the day, they're both different tragedies, but it's just that one gets more of a you know, higher praise and treatment and gets more severity, more coverage on it, whereas the other one doesn't, even though they have the same level of, you know, horrible or terribleness. So I feel like I get it in his point. He had it worse than Batman, so it didn't make sense for the media to focus too much on Batman. That was selective media selective bias. But if I'm being honest, how is that Bruce Wayne's fault? He's punishing Bruce Wayne and saying it's Bruce Wayne's fault and trying to kill Bruce Wayne, but it's like, Bruce Wayne has nothing to do with this. He's an innocent bystander. Yeah, you could say it's messed up that the media did that, cared more about him, but it's not like he was doing anything. He was a kid. So I went from like, he's messed up to I went from like, the Riddler's kind of messed up, but I get where he's come from, to like, the Riddler's a complete moron now. He's attacking him and he's saying Thomas Wayne was this and that, but he was wrong too. So I was like, this guy clearly, they try to make him sound smarter than he was, but he wasn't as smart as he was either. So I felt like he was kind of dumb too. They had that, and then we reveal what his real main plan was. To he set up vans all across the city and like the edges, blow it up so the water could come in, rush it in, pull all these people into the center area, so he can send. Because he had a video where he had followers like 507 followers, and he was trying to send them all there to basically execute the people there because they were getting them all collected because of the water, and shoot them there. He went from trying to attack corrupt people, but to now attacking anybody because there was innocent bystanders there. Most of the people there were not bad people. He was attacking the government officials, which I get because they were corrupt, but he was attacking innocent people. Also, he said this a new woman that's running for mayor is corrupt, but we saw from her actions she wasn't evil. She was willing to put herself out there to stand up for these people because she cared about them. She wanted to defend the people of Gotham. She cared enough. So he was also wrong on that. He was saying all the politicians were corrupt. It was like, yeah, were there some corrupt police officers? There was definitely the commissioner and a couple of them. But we saw what all the other cops, they were trying to take down Carmine Falcone. So if they were so corrupt, there wouldn't be that many cops trying to take him down. And he said that all the politicians were corrupt, but we only saw that one mayor, and the woman that was running for mayor, she was completely not corrupt. So it made him go from like he's a genius and his way of thinking is kind of twisted to he's a complete moron. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and he kind of ruined what he's saying. So I felt like they kind of ruined his character towards the end. I'm like, his whole goal was to take down the corrupt people, but now he's punishing everybody as if they're all corrupt, and he's being an idiot. Like we see this with a lot of people in real life. They see a couple of bad people, they paint everybody with a brush, saying all this group of people, they're all bad, instead of saying, oh, there's a select few. He wasn't really analyzing it like case by case. He was just like, oh, I'm an idiot, so I'm just gonna say they're all this bad. So I didn't like that either. They had that, the guys came in, Batman's like beating the crap out of them, they started beating the crap out of him. They try to take them down, and he almost dies until Selena Kyle once again comes in to save his ass. I felt like Batman in this one was kind of trash. I mean, he almost died 3 times, and a lot of the times he could have avoided. This time I wouldn't give him too much crap, but I mean, writing wise, they could have written it where he could have handled it without that, but it's fine, I guess. So they had that. He takes them down, beats them. The Riddler's crying. He's like, oh, I lost. And then there's a guy next over in the prison cell saying, hey, don't worry, buddy. Don't cry. It's okay. You were great. You did great. You did good. And I thought it was Two-Face because he had like a burn up looking face, but then it was real. It's obviously Joker because of the laugh, and he was laughing. So I was like, oh, so they're setting up for a Riddler Joker duo movie, which I'm gonna be honest, that is very intriguing. I want to see that. I know I said in my other video about Joker being an overrated villain. I was like, he's an overrated character and stuff. I said I don't hate him as a character. I like him. I just wanted them to focus on other characters. Them focusing on the Riddler was good. I would like to see them focus on Mr. Freeze. I think there would have been a perfect movie that they could make with Mr. Freeze if they took it seriously. But I do like the idea of Joker and Riddler working together. I think that would be very cool. So I did like that they were laughing together, so you could see that these guys are both just as crazy as one another. Usually in the comics, Riddler is crazy, but he's more narcissistic than crazy, whereas Joker's just completely insane. In this one, I felt like their level of insanity was more matched, so I think this is going to be more chaos. I think the second movie that's going to come out of this is going to be far better than this one. This one was entertaining, but like I said, there was a lot of problems with it. So that's basically the gist of the movie, the spoilers. Now let me get into some of the stuff that I did, some of the stuff that I liked about this movie and some of the stuff that I didn't, and what I thought about this movie as a whole. Now first, let's get into the stuff that I liked. I liked some of the fighting. Some of the fighting looked really good. It looked very crisp. It looked clean. I liked the car chase scene with Batman and his Batmobile against Penguin, and how Penguin was like, oh yeah, I beat him, and then Batman just came out in flames like, oh shit, I know I'm screwed, and he knocked him over, and Batman came over to him. He's like, oh damn. I also like the Penguin in this movie. I think he looked like Al Capone to me. He kind of looked like Al Capone to me, but I did like how he played and stuff. The Riddlers, the mysteries were very interesting. They had the whole Riddler stuff that was pretty cool. I'm happy they finally did the Riddler. They did him in a more badass way instead of making him goofy or just some loser narcissist who's just like, oh my god, I'm smarter than Batman, I'm better than you, ha 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 ha, I'm smarter than you, you can't solve my riddles, and then be like, you solve my riddles, I'm butthurt now. Like, I like that better that they did this way. I think the Batman suit was a lot better looking than I thought it was going to be. When I first saw the images of it, I didn't really like it, but I think it was better than that. I do like the mystery stuff. I think it was a very decently well written story, and there's a lot of good stuff about it. Now, let me get into the bad stuff because there are quite a bit of stuff. First, let's talk about the visual aspect. I did not like the blurry vision. When I first came into the movie theater and I sat down, I sat in the corner edge of the movie theater and close by. So when I sat right there, I thought maybe these seats might be fine, maybe they might not be good. But then once when the movie started, it was kind of blurry, and I was thinking to myself, is it because the seat I'm in? Because it looked bad. It looked pixelized. It looked very blurry. So for me, I thought personally that I was in bad seats. But then later on, the movie adjusted and then sometimes went back to blurry, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is a director's was the director doing it. And I also talked to my brother about it because I went to watch it with him, and he also mentioned it. So I was like, oh, okay, so it was in the seat. So I did not like that. I get it, it's I guess you could say an artistic way of filmmaking, but I hated it. I mean, like, here's the thing. When we go into these movies modern day, we go in to see how good the visuals are. And when you put blurry vision in it, it makes it look bad. It can work for sometimes, but they're using it at times they didn't need it. It was around the edges. There was a lot of stuff that it didn't need it in. And when I saw it, I was like, this movie looks bad. It looks terrible. I felt like I was in the cheap seats. For a second, I was questioning myself. I was like, am I in a bad seat? Should I sit somewhere else that it will make it look better? But the fact that that was just how the movie was supposed to be filmed kind of made me like, okay, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm like, I expected the visuals to be a lot better. The fact that they put a ton of blurry vision in it kind of disappointed me. So I did not like that. Also, they made it very dark in the movie. I get it's, Gotham and Batman, but it was hard to see the fights. It reminded me of Black Panther when they were fighting. You could barely see anything because it was too dark. Then there was very bright flashing lights. I'm like, this thing is gonna blind me. I don't have any form of epilepsy, but even me, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna have a seizure by looking at this shit. They need to control that light stuff, and especially when there's like the contrast of the darkness to the instant light. That's the problem. Also, the audio, I did not like it. It was super loud. Every punch Batman threw was boom, boom, boom. It sounded like literally he was hitting a metal door with a battering ram. And I was just like, was it necessary to make every punch sound like that? And I felt like the only reason they did that was to make it sound, him to sound more tough and dangerous. And if I'm being honest, that sounds lame to me. You know why? Because they're trying to show him how tough he is, and by doing that, they're overdoing it. To me, it felt like they're over trying to make him look scary. And my brother, he was even talking about like Robert Patterson. I don't think he knows how to fight because they were doing a lot of jump cuts and stuff, and they were hiding in the dark. And I agree, I think so too, because when you see his fighting, even though the fights I do like it, I felt like it was a little too basic. It was just him throwing basic punches and hitting hard a lot. So I was like, okay, it doesn't look that good. It wasn't bad, but I was like, you can tell that he doesn't know how to fight very well, especially with the sound effect. They may try to make him sound like he's more stronger than he is, and in reality, it just made him look. It just made me cringe because I was like, really, this guy is like, no punch sounds like boom, 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 boom. Like, calm down, okay? They overdid it with that, so that I did not like that because first of all, it was too loud. Second of all, it just made it sound like they were trying to make Batman sound way stronger than he was, which kind of made me cringe. I was like, okay. They're trying to make him sound too strong, so he's probably not that strong. So they had that. Also, Catwoman's fighting, you can tell she was CGI'd because every time when she would fight, her movement looked very animated. And you can tell when she threw a punch or a kick, especially a kick, it would, the way her body would move, it would move like a whip. It would accelerate super quick. So I was like, that's not how a human body moves. I've seen quite a bit of MMA and fighting in general, and people's bodies don't just go slow like this and then accelerate instantly. That's just unnatural. Like, her leg whipped really quick. So I was like, her movements, she looked like she was moving at super speed, like she had superpowers, but she's supposed to be a regular human. So it felt unnatural. And my brother suggested that maybe she didn't know how to fight either. So I was like, okay, maybe they didn't know how to fight and they had to do ways around it. But her way was worse because they literally CGI'd it, and it's pretty obvious. It was like wild. If you watch the movie, you will, and if you look at her movements, you would see what I mean. It was very obvious, and I'm not a filmmaker guy or know that much about like how films work, but I can definitely tell when something as CGI'd as that is like blatantly obvious. It was like seeing Superman's mustache thing and the Justice League movie. It's blatantly obvious. So I saw that, I was like, I don't like that. It didn't take me completely out of the movie, but I didn't like that. Also, let's talk about the casting choices. First of all, Catwoman was not needed in this movie. They could have written her out and it would have been fine. I know she was Carmine Falcone's daughter, but that was never in the comics. They only added in this movie to have her have a reason for being in this movie. Also, they made her a love interest with Batman, which I don't think they needed a love story. I think that was kind of dumb and pointless. I would have preferred Batman to not have a love story and just focus on his objective than to be, distracted by a woman, or like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. I'm like, dude, you got a big big deal right here going on. I don't think you need to worry about your romantic life right now. If you want to worry about your romantic life, you should have done it prior to this. But you're at a point where, like, come on. So yeah, I did not like that either. I did not like the romance aspect. I also felt like they didn't really connect very well. They had no real chemistry anyway, so it didn't feel good anyway. So I didn't like the romance stuff. I thought that was dumb. I think the woman who acted for Selena Kyle did a decent job. I didn't have a problem with her. I think she did good, but I just felt like she was not necessary, and I did not like the love story. And then we go into, Gordon. I'm going to be honest, I do not like Gordon's acting. My brother even said that he reminded him of a Key and Peele comedy sketch at one point, because he was yelling, and he yelled like he was in a comedy sketch. And it's not just me or my brother, because when I was in the movie theater and he was talking in his dialogue, literally people there were laughing. People were laughing at serious moments like it was a comedy movie. I'm like, dude, we're supposed to take you serious in this dialogue, and you're delivering it like you're about to deliver a punchline. It was just very jarring to hear, in a serious movie with this type of tone. And when you're supposed to deliver lines like that, it just seems off-putting that he would deliver like that. So I did not like the casting choice for Jim Gordon. I think they could have picked a better actor. Also, Robert Pattinson's Batman. People say that they like this one because he's all this detective stuff and he's very this. Here's the thing. I think people need to understand that there's two different things when it comes to a character in a movie. There is how the character is written, and there's how the character is acted. The character, how it's written, basically has to do with simply, the writing, the screenwriting, whoever wrote the story, and that has to do with that. How the character is acted has to do simply with how, let me get out of here. So how the character is acted has to do with the actor himself. So there can be a character that's very well written, but the actor is not very good at it, or there can be a character that's terribly written, but the actor is really good. And in my opinion, I don't think his acting was bad in this movie, but his acting for the role of Batman was not there for me. It was bland. It was very boring, cut and dry. There was nothing special about him. A lot of people say he was the best in this, but I want to ask you guys this. It's fine to like him, but I want to ask you this one question. What about his character? What about him acting in his character was unique compared to the other Batmans? What was special about him? People would say he did more detective work, but that's just the writing of the story. I'm talking about the character himself. What was more better about this character and more unique about this Batman compared to the other ones? Because if I'm being honest, he was the weakest part in this movie itself. The Batman was the weakest part in this movie. I was not a big fan of him. I felt like he was. Sorry for the jump cut, guys. My video when I was recording it, for some reason the webcam messed up and it just went off. So this is my second part of it doing it. I'm just gonna clip it in together, so it's gonna seem a little bit off. But yeah, let's just get back to what I was talking about. The acting choice, like I said, for Batman, he was not very well. Robert Patterson didn't act as Batman very well, in my opinion. I felt like he was kind of. Like I said, he was cut and dry, boring. There was nothing special about him. You can like him as a character, but when people say that he's the best or he's this or that, I feel like people are over-exaggerating. And I don't like when I hear that. I'm like, okay, when you guys say that, that makes me not like him even more, because you guys are saying that he's this great, but he's obviously not. I mean, if he was, because like I said, I want to know from you guys, if you do love him, what about him is so unique and so much special compared to the other Batmans? What do you like about him more better than the other Batmans that you guys would rate him so high? That's all I was trying to say. And then also Carmine Falcone. I'm sorry, this actor is a great actor, but if I'm being honest, I can't take this guy serious. This guy is like, what I'm saying is, he was in the Transformers movie, and he was a comedic role in that movie. He was in Anger Management with Adam Sandler. He was a comedic role in that movie. He was in the show Monk. If you ever seen it, he was Monk's brother, and he was kind of like a coward and wimp in that, and that fit him. Him being a big mob boss and a tough guy, I just can't take him seriously. I've seen him in too many roles where he's goofy and over the top, and from his voice and his mannerisms alone, he does not pull off like an intimidating guy. He pulls off more of a goofy guy, so I couldn't take him serious as a big crime boss as Carmine Falcone. Every time I saw him, I was trying my hardest not to laugh. I was just thinking about Monk's brother. I'm like, this guy is such a wimp. He's so pathetic. I was just like, once again, no offense against the actor, but I just couldn't take him serious from all the other roles he was in, especially in Monk. It was just too ridiculous to me. So I didn't like his casting either. I felt like the casting as a whole for this movie wasn't that well. There was obviously some characters that were very well casted, but others I didn't think it was very well. I think they could have chose anybody else for Batman. Robert Patterson didn't really put anything special into his. Catwoman, her acting was good, but her character was not needed. What's the thing called? Jim Gordon was too goofy, couldn't take serious, and Carmine Falcone was too goofy, couldn't take serious. The rest of the actors, completely fine with. I didn't have a problem with the rest of the guys. So that was okay for that. The movie as a whole, I do think it was decently written, but I do also think it was overly drawn out, overly long. There was the cliche with the whole Carmine Falcone running the, Gotham itself. I also didn't, I didn't feel like the story was too in-depth, and if I'm being honest, the movie, though it had a decent writing in it, I felt like it wasn't as entertaining. As I was watching the movie and towards the end, I was getting kind of bored, and I was like, okay, can they just skip on ahead? I was like, can they just cut out the Carmine Falcone crap and just get to the Riddler so we can get done with this? Because, me personally, I towards the weekend, me and my brothers, we go and play pool. So instead of me thinking about the movie like, oh, I love it, I was just thinking about, can this movie end? I want to go play pool. It's getting kind of late, I wanted at 8 o'clock, and it was reaching 11. I was like, it's getting kind of late. I want this movie to wrap it up. Things, I don't care if it's fast pacing. They've already stretched this shit out long enough. I want it just to be done so I can go play some pool, because I'm getting bored right now. So when that happens in a movie and when you're watching and you get bored, you don't want that. You want to be entertained. So like I said, it was a well-written movie, but it was a boring movie too. I felt like a lot of parts of it was boring. It was unnecessarily long. If it was maybe like short, like 2 hours and 30 minutes, or even just 2 hours long, I felt like I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But the fact that it was overly long and it was not very entertaining as a whole, I didn't feel that much enjoyment coming out of it. And people saying he's very comic bookly accurate, no, he was not. Get out of here with that crap. First of all, the people don't like this because they did some investigating. But if you really want movies where there's detective work and investigation, there's countless other detective movies that are far better than this movie, that have far better mystery and better writing in that regard, and are even more entertaining. This one wasn't, because people may sound like it was a thriller that was enticing the entire time. It didn't. After a while, I was just like, okay, I don't really care. Can we get over with it? Some of these plans are kind of dumb. Some of the directions are going in kind of dumb. So I don't really care for it too much. The movie as a whole, I'll rate it like, my brother rated it 7 out of 10. I'll put it at like 6, 7 out of 10. I'll say it's a little bit better than it's a little more than decent or, average, but I don't think it's anything special. I don't think this movie is that great as people say it is. It's not a masterpiece. It's not the best written. It's not the best Batman. The mysteries are not that very in depth. The writing is not that deep. A lot of the stuff was just overly done, and I felt like the fans, and I don't want to attack the fans because it's okay if you love it, but here's the problem for me when it comes to the fans, when it comes to fans of anything, is when they hype something out before it comes out, it's hard for me to take them seriously when they say it's good, because it's like, you guys already have this preconceived notion that it's going to be amazing, so for you guys to say it's amazing afterwards, it's like, well, obviously I had the same problem with the Broly movie. People were saying it was going to be the best, and then when it came out they were saying it was the best. So I was like, I can't take you by your word. You were saying that beforehand. So people were saying the same thing for this movie. This is going to be the best Batman film. He's going to be the best Batman, this and that. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be a great film. So when I heard that, I was like, I can't take that seriously. Now, is it a good film? Yes. Is it an enjoyable film? Yes. But it's an average film. It's not a masterpiece. It's not the best. This is definitely not the best Batman. There's a lot of stuff wrong with this movie, and if somebody says they don't like the movie, I couldn't be surprised. I do think that the movie is more entertaining, but I do feel like the fans have over-exaggerated. And if I'm being honest, I went from thinking this movie was okay and average to seeing these fans over-exaggerating to being like, okay, it's not average, it's trash. And I don't mean that. When I say stuff like that, it's just because when I see fans, and this is the fans' fault, when I see fans over-exaggerate something and something I think is average, it kind of makes me want to hate it more. I'm like, this movie, this stuff wasn't that great. You're over-exaggerating it, and I went from being like, oh, it's okay, to this is bad. So I'm not gonna watch this movie again. It's too damn long. It's not enjoyable enough for me, and it wasn't really much there for me at all. So once again, the movie was fine. I just felt like there's quite a bit of problems here and there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my review, and stay tuned for my gaming channel tomorrow.